Welcome to Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Marcellus Wiley with my man Emmanuel Acho.
I'm liking the monochromatic gray on gray. I'm liking that.
Really?
You're leveling up in front of my eyes, sir.
Okay, like my man Luther on Hulu, my favorite show right now. He wears this kind of outfit all the time. Let's get it started, dog. What an opening weekend for the NFL. Here for the next 2 hours, let's go with the GOAT, who came in with all kinds of hype for his Bucs debut, but it didn't work out as planned. Tom Brady gave Bucs fans flashbacks of Jameis Winston by throwing 2 interceptions, including a pick 6 in the third quarter. Brady's turnovers helped the Saints spoil Tampa's season opener. After the loss, Brady said, quote, "I've obviously got to do a lot better job." So, Acho, despite the loss, are you buying Brady's Bucs as contenders? Still.
No, sir. I'm not right now.
You flipped already?
I didn't flip.
Huh?
What did I tell you on Friday, but you weren't trying to listen? I said, Marcellus, all these stars. Marcellus, more stars than the galaxy the Buccaneers have.
There we go.
All these stars,
Theater.
but only one football. I said, all these stars, Marcellus, but how are they going to make it work as a unified team because they don't have consistency?
Okay.
Let me tell you about some of these stars, Marcellus. Leonard Fournette, 5 carries, 5 yards.
Is that good?
Mike Evans, 1 reception, 2 yards. Rob Gronkowski, 2 receptions. All these stars, Marcellus, but nothing to show for it. Gronkowski, he looked like he came out of retirement. Brady, to a degree, he looked like he was 43. Then you got, fringe Hall of Fame guys like LaShawn McCoy at running back. They come into the game and they don't do nothing for you. Here was the problem, Marcellus.
Yes, sir, sir.
The Bucs yesterday were more like an all-name team.
Oh, I hate when you go this route.
They was an all-name team. You saw Evans, Fournette, Godwin, Brady, Gronkowski, Howard, McCoy, but no production. And I want to show you something because you have greats like LaShawn McCoy. And again, I played with him when he was at his heights. But he goes into this game, didn't play a lot, but goes into the game as a big-time name and gives up a sack. Look at him there, running back position. All I need you to do, stay in front of Demario Davis so that Tom Brady doesn't get hurt.
So easy.
JD, please.
So easy to do,
please. And LaShawn McCoy, Marcellus, throws a lookout block when all you can do is say, "Hey, Tom, look out!" So the problem is they're pretenders right now because you got all these stars.
Oh, wow.
But you got nothing to show for it.
Wow, okay. Woo, Acho. First, let me answer the question, do my job, make sure this check comes in this week. I am still buying Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as contenders. But it's amazing to me how you and many others probably want to jump off the pirate ship so fast. Like, first of all, after week 1, you know what half the league is by the win-loss record? Pretenders. Half the league lost. You know that, right?
That's right.
So for you to try to go directly to the win-loss column is absurd. For you to try to go line item within the game is absurd as well.
Then what's not absurd?
Yes, it is. You just said Mike Evans only had 1 catch.
That's facts.
But people who watch the game know that it's a little deeper than that.
Okay.
Did he have 2 pass interference penalties called against him, which allowed for 76 yards, was it? You add that to his total and his 1 catch for 1 touchdown, all of a sudden things will look a little different, but Acho doesn't want to talk about that. Let's talk about the running game that let Tom Brady down. You're talking about less than 4 yards a carry from Rojo, and then you just brought up Leonard Fournette and his 5 for 5. That's not good enough. Offensive line, I wonder where it all starts. You don't know about this because you're one of those skilled players.
I was a linebacker. I tried not to get dirty. I tried not to.
It all starts up front. They had issues up front, not only in run blocking, but in pass protection, giving up the 3 sacks. You get Cam Jordan your first game as a rookie. Good luck to you. All of that said, I really want to get into the psychological play of this because you wanted to go line item. I already defeated half of those, if not all of them. But let's talk about the fact that one of the greatest traits of success is being even keel.
Okay.
You don't get too high when it's good. You don't get too low when it's bad, right? As Winston Churchill once stated, success is walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. Persistence isn't just moving your feet, it's keeping your mind, your spirit engaged, even in front of adversity. Tom Brady lost another season opener. Tom Brady has lost 4 season openers, including yesterday. But let's talk about the other 3. You know what happened in those other 3 season opening losses those years? they went to the Super Bowl and won 2 of them. But Emmanuel Acho would say that team was a pretender in those 3 season opening losses. But this year, you're going to go there again, and Tom Brady's going to make you eat your words.
Success, walking from failures to failures with no loss of enthusiasm.
Staying strong.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that makes sense because Tom Brady, he did throw from interception to interception with marginal loss of enthusiasm. So maybe Tom Brady was incredibly successful yesterday.
Yes.
The fact of the matter, Marcellus, was he wasn't. And I'm not jumping off of shit because, sir, I was never on the ship. Check the records, check the tape. Emmanuel Acho was never on this Buccaneers train because there is something called continuity. There is something called familiarity. You saw the interceptions Tom Brady threw to Mike Evans. Miscommunication. I think we have it highlighted. So let's show it. Because, yes, you have Mike Evans, who is a beast, but the problem is he's highlighted there in the slot position, 6'5". 231. Got to go get it, but you can't go get it when you're not on the same page. It's not just about talent, Marcellus. That's what I've been trying to tell you, along with the rest of the people that have been listening to the lies that you were selling. It's not just about talent. It's also about trust. And right now, Tom Brady doesn't seem to have that level of trust with said receivers. And sir, I don't profess to be a full-screen king. I don't. But I do profess to be a full-screen prince. So full screen if we may.
Let's see this.
Look at all the receivers that the Buccaneers have. Look at their heights. Look at the sizes. Look at the weights. Okay, a full screen coming. There it is. You got Mike Evans, 6'5", 231 star. Rob Gronkowski, future Hall of Famer, 6'6", 268 star. You got O.J. Howard, 6'6", 251.
That's me playing weight, baby.
You got C.J., 6'1", 209. But who was really Tom Brady's go-to? A guy named Scotty Miller.
Another one.
A 6th-round pick at 5'10", 174 at a Bowling Green. See, the problem is, Marcellus, you got all these stars, but who found the football? None of those big-name guys you knew. So I'm not buying the Bucs. I never was. And I'm not going to start now because, sir, you're giving me all these names, but names don't win games.
Look, big dog, let me just say one more thing. I told you that he's lost home openers, season openers before.
That's true.
3 of them. And they've been to the Super Bowl every single one of those years. He knows how to self-correct. But it's amazing to me, Acho, you're a successful guy. And you also know that success is not linear. Like, you don't just start and hit the ground running, oh, my God, go. And all of a sudden, that means success and perfection. You don't need that. Tom Brady warned us. And I think we took it as Captain America being modest. But he said, look, there's a lot in terms of communication that I have to work through, a lot of verbiage I have to work through. We're not on the same page right now. But no one listened to Tom Brady when he said that last week. But I did. And I took it into consideration and still stayed on the pirate ship, knowing that this team was a contender. I imagine Emmanuel Acho going on one of his vacations he loves to talk about. And you know how you like to vacation on a budget. I hate that. But you like to go out the country on a budget. And you go into a new territory that talks a different language. And you say, oh, no, I'm Emmanuel Acho, the scholar. I'm going to immerse myself in this language. I am going to Rosetta Stone it for my 6 weeks abroad. And you know what happens every now and then? You run up on a native that knows the OG language and sits there and says, no comprendo, no comprendo. Like, doesn't understand you. And you know what? You don't understand them. They're going to be able to work that out over time. But please don't jump off the ship or let the ship sail by.
Let me say this, because I do agree with you to a degree. I do think that by week 7, week 8, week 9, I do think the Buccaneers will have corrected the ship. But here's the problem, Marcellus. The Saints have won this division 3 years in a row, if I'm not mistaken. So the Saints have a chokehold on this division. Saints are already head up light years ahead of this Buccaneers team. I knew that. You were now learning that. If the Saints win the division, that means Tom Brady's going to have to make the playoffs as what? A wild card. Brady's never made the Super Bowl as a wild card, let alone as a 43-year-old man. So when I say the Saints, when I say the Buccaneers aren't going to be contenders, I'm saying contending for a Super Bowl. If Tom Brady ends up going 9-7, 10-6, sneaks into the playoffs through the back door, because, you know, he used to waltz in through the front door, first round bye, yes, please, thank you. If he has to sneak into the playoffs through the back door, then I do not think that they are contending for a Super Bowl. Therefore, they are pretenders in that regard.
Let me button this up by the old mantra, defense wins championships. If you look at their defense, especially in the second half, they showed out, right?
They look good.
Held the Saints to under 300 yards.
They look good.
Drew Brees under 200 yards.
Absolutely
Michael Thomas, 3 catches, 17 yards?
Absolutely.
Kamara, 12 carries, 16 rush yards. It's not all about Tom Brady. Tom Brady will be fine. But let's move on to the quarterback who replaced Brady in New England, Cam Newton. And Cam fared much better in his debut with his new squad. Newton showed off his complete skill set, rushing for 2 touchdowns on 15 carries. The most carries ever by a Patriots quarterback in a game. After the win, Cam said it hit him, quote, full circle that he's a Patriot. So, Acho, has Cam made the Patriots forget about Tom Brady? Ignorant question. I'm listening.
It's not ignorant, bruh. Think about this. Think about this.
Wow.
Cam Newton, I've said this from day one. He's a rebound for the Patriots. He's not the Patriots' next long-term lover, but when you get out of any long, meaningful relationship, what you need, Marcellus, you need a quick rebound to make you forget. Just for a moment.
Need that.
Just for a moment. Make you forget for a night.
Just hug me.
Just hug me. Just love me. And that's what Cam Newton is. He's going to make the Patriots forget about Tom Brady, not for life. Not when the Patriots are reminiscing on their good times with Tom Brady in 20, 30 years. But for this season, he absolutely will make the Patriots forget about Tom Brady. Think about it. He already made Belichick and McDaniels forget about Tom Brady.
How?
What do you mean how? They've completely revamped the playbook.
Well, you have to.
15 rushes by Cam Newton, second most in Cam Newton's career. Like, they completely made them forget. But also think about this. The Patriots played the game perfectly for Cam. You're only going to pass the ball 19 times. I don't need you to win the game. We're going to have the Dolphins go lose the game. And players that have played at a high level know exactly what that means. There's a difference. I don't need you to go win the game. But the Dolphins are going to go lose it. Well, what's that mean to the fan watching the show? Dolphins had 3 turnovers to the Patriots 1. Cam Newton threw no interceptions. Cam Newton had 70-plus yards on the ground. Patriots had 35 minutes time of possession to the Dolphins 25. When you walk into an NFL locker room, you know a couple things defensively. To win the game, you got to win a turnover battle. You got to win the time of possession battle. That's what the Patriots did. With Cam Newton, they will forget about Tom Brady, not for life, but for a moment.
Oh, yeah, that moment going to be really short-lived because next week they go on the road to Seattle. They going to remember Tom Brady then. Look, you ain't making me forget about Tom Brady. It's almost blasphemy to even think that you would go to that place in story, let alone in sizzle and substance, because this is not the way you win football games every single week with this roster, with Cam Newton. Second most rushes in his career, you say? I wonder a guy who lost his way because of durability, because of impact, because of running the ball with him a little too often, is going to fare when Jamal Adams gets at least 15 intentional hits on the quarterback who has now deemed himself a runner. You think that's going to be sustainable? You think that's going to be long-term, the way the Patriots play? No, what you saw yesterday was a team that leaned into someone's comfort zone. They know Cam Newton, hey, compromise offseason. We understand your skill set. It's tremendous. It's greater than Brady's skill set, at least in terms of tangibles. So we're going to have a playbook. We're going to have a game plan that is just for you. It is exactly what you need in terms of it being convenient and it being yours. However, we're going to have to remix this formula if we're going to go out there and win a lot of ball games. And that's the problem with this. It's not the playbook that you're going to roll out every single week. So there's still some boxes that are left unchecked. And unless I see them run more conventional style offensive plays from the pocket with tremendous success, I'm not saying that they're forgetting about Tom Brady.
The thing is, Marcellus, this question is actually very simple. And everybody sitting at home on a couch or at a restaurant, at a bar, wherever you may, you can relate to this. Because this question is really life. The Patriots, they broke up with Tom Brady. And when you get out of any said relationship, like we've alluded to, yeah, they broke up with him, he left him, etc. Either way, the relationship has ceased to exist.
It's over.
It's over. And when you see that person who you're no longer with a relationship with, they start to show signs of aging. Put on a little bit of weight, bags under their eyes. Maybe they lose their job. Maybe they lose their first game.
Oh, God.
Meanwhile, you're in a new relationship. Person you're in a relationship with, they're in the best shape of their life.
Oh, God, we're going
this way. They're winning.
Okay.
Maybe they won their first game.
Okay.
They make you forget. Think about this. If you're a Patriots fan, you sitting at your couch 1-0, just beat a divisional opponent in the Dolphins. You click on the TV, let me see what, because this is what happens. I'm going to keep it real with y'all watching this show.
You're
this
in trouble now. You win without my lane.
This is what happens, Marcellus.
This is my lane, dog.
This is what happens. You know, You get out of a relationship and you go to Instagram because you got to check and see how your ex is doing.
I know you.
You pull up the phone and you like, let me start scrolling. Let me see how they doing. That's what Patriots fans did yesterday. Man, let me see how my ex Tom Brady is doing. And what they see, interception. He cussing. He mad again. Another interception.
Yeah.
Oh, he dropping F-bombs. And now he on the bench sick.
Oh.
And now you kick back thinking, oh, we won. So not only are the Patriots forgetting about Tom Brady, they're also gloating in the fact that Tom Brady, I tried to tell you, you had it better here in New England than you was ever going to have it there in Tampa Bay.
Wow, wow, wow. Look at me looking at this. Interesting. Cam Newton right now is on pace for what, 192 rushes?
And a 16-0 record.
Yeah, he is. That sounds amazing. And he's never had over 139 rushes in 1 year, and he's been banged up with the 139. What you think 192 going to do to him? CBS cameras caught this. I don't know if you were watching games because it seems like you just read summary reports.
No, I was watching them.
You don't really watch the games. If you really watch the game, did you see Cam Newton grab that hamstring? Oh, you didn't see that, huh? When he grabbed the hamstring and they asked him post-game, hey, what's up with the hammy? 15 rushes. How's the hammy? Oh, that's nothing. That's fine. Watch for that. Already a little wear and tear. But let's talk about the lane that you want to go into life. And you want to check on your ex to make sure that you're doing better with your next, right? Okay, here's the thing. How many times you done seen that? Where you're like, oh, okay. Oh, that's who she dating now? Oh, okay. Oh, he played for who? Oh, okay. Oh, he balling? Oh, he got a Ferrari too? Oh, okay. Yeah. And then you just like, all right, forget that. I'm going to live my life. Then about 4 months happens, you're like, let me go check again, see they still together. Did she take down a bunch of people? Where they go? Where they at? It's a wrap. All I'm saying is, look, I love Cam Newton. Don't try and make me talk bad about Cam Newton. But what we saw yesterday is not something that they're going to run out and try and replicate every single week. Already showed a little stress on him. Did you see the one play with Cam Newton trying to run around and got clipped and nipped? We're going to talk about that later in the show, but all I'm saying is watch Cam Newton if this is going to be his workload. Coming up at the top of the hour, Bruce Arians didn't hold back after the Bucs lost, calling out Tom Brady. We'll let you know what we thought of it. But first, Hall of Famer in the building. Tony Gonzalez joins us. We'll tell you if the Cowboys were robbed by the refs last night. Next, Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Well, the NFL is back, and boy, was America excited for its return. The Bucs Saints game on Fox had the best Week 1 overnight rating for America's Game of the Week in 4 years. It had the highest audience on television since the Super Bowl, and the final audience for that game is expected to be over 10%. Over last year.
Look at that.
Wow. So Marcellus, I guess it's safe to say that the country's excited to have the NFL back.
I know I was. I know the Wiley household was. Even had my 5-month-old, I'll post this picture later. She was laying on her side, on her arm, looking at football with focus. Best babysitter ever, man. Oh, it was amazing to watch our game, America's game, back at it, brother.
Well, speaking of America's game, let's talk about America's team, shall we? Let's move to the Dallas Cowboys. Looked like they were driving for at least a game-tying field goal when Dak Prescott hit Michael Gallup on a 47-yard pass with over 30 seconds left in the game.
Give me that.
Gallup was called for offensive pass interference.
Yes, sir.
And the Rams held on to win. Jalen Ramsey said the push-off was clear as day. But Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy said he was disappointed in the call being made that late in the game. Joined now by Hall of Famer, NFL analyst Tony Gonzalez. But Marcellus, you up first. You gonna blame the refs for the Cowboys' loss?
I'm not blaming the refs. I thought the refs got it right. That was clear as day, as Jalen Ramsey said, a pass interference. More than that, it was egregious because it's not just so much the timing of it. I hate when coaches say, hey, why'd you make the right call at the wrong time? Like, shut up, coach. That ain't how a game goes. It's not so much that what his arm being extended was so egregious. It's the outcome of him extending that arm that is the most egregious of all this. He got the separation that he needed in a game of inches. So, yeah, it just takes you back to when you went to chemistry class. I didn't get a good grade in chemistry. I do remember looking at two mundane elements and saying, oh, what's wrong with these two chemicals? When you put them together, boom! And that's what happened. This may look simple to you. It's late in the game, and it's not much of a stretch and much of an outreach arm. But what's the result? What's the outcome? 47-yard pass? Nah, that's PI. I'm with you, Jalen Ramsey. Refs didn't cost y'all.
Man, the refs ain't cost them the game. And let me tell Cowboys fans who did. Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott. The two players, the two people, not players, one being the player, the other being the coach, that have the most to prove. Mike McCarthy, you come to the Cowboys with the Super Bowl on your resume, which means the Cowboys have Super Bowl expectations and coaching out of you. And Dak Prescott, you want to be the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. So you already know the expectations you have. Marcellus, when the Cowboys boarded the plane last night, they boarded with, their players or practice squad players, maybe the media, the head coach. You want to know what else they boarded that plane with? Ooh. A timeout in their pocket. How do you go home, Cowboys, with a timeout when you have to win the game or at least drive down the field to get a game-tying field goal, and you don't even use the timeout? What that shows me is Mike McCarthy, clock management. Come on now. Okay, now, Dak Prescott, let's talk about you.
Don't do this.
Dak, you got everything on the line right now. You're playing under $31+ million, and now you're also trying to play for roughly $40 million annually, and you go 25 of 39 with one touchdown? You have a pedestrian stat line like that? And here's what I have to say about this, Marcellus, is great quarterbacks, they played great yesterday. Russell Wilson, great. Lamar Jackson, great. Aaron Rodgers, great. Patrick Mahomes earlier on in the week, great. But Dak Prescott, if you want to be said great quarterback, it's time for you to play great. So don't blame the refs, Cowboys fans. That's the lazy thing to do. Look at your quarterback and look at your head coach. Because if anybody deserves blame, it's them two individuals, specifically the one that took a timeout home with him like he can use it as leftovers.
Well, I love your points there. I think Jalen Ramsey for sure played the old veteran trick of the Vlade Divac flail back and sold it, and the ref had to make a call. I think he kind of gave him no choice. And I agree with you. Mike McCarthy, let's go back in the game, too. Remember they were down there and they went for it on 4th down? Just kick the field goal. You tied the game up. And then, I think that did it right there. I don't know why. It's not like it was inches, too. It was, hey, it's 4th and 3. Kick the field goal. And then we get tied the game up. Then we can see what happens after that. But I think the creativity there. I think Kellen Moore, remember he was offensive coordinator last year. Mike McCarthy kept him offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more creativity. You got a lot of talent on that team with CeeDee Lamb, with Zeke, with Amari Cooper, with Blake Jarwin. They got guys. I think the offense could be a little bit better. Now, granted, I'm taking nothing away from that defense. Aaron Donald is a beast. He is somebody that I don't think I'd ever want to go up against. Thank God I played tight end and one of those guys in the middle because he is all world. But so I give them a little bit of credit, but I still think with all the talent that the Cowboys have, I was expecting a little bit more out of Dak Prescott and that offense, put up a little bit more points, which they can. They showed they could do it in flashes, but the creativity's got to be a little bit better out of Kellen Moore for me.
Interesting. I just got to push back on, I guess, both of you guys, because Acho started this conversation. You want to be a great quarterback and all the great quarterbacks play well yesterday.
I had more bass in my voice. I had a little bit more. Like, you want to be a great quarterback.
Okay, I'm sorry, my brother. You want to be a great quarterback, Dak? Just outplay some of these other deemed great quarterbacks, which he did yesterday. How did Deshaun Watson do this week? Oh, Dak had a better quarterback rate. What about the money guys in Carson Wentz and Jared Goff, who he played against? Oh, Dak actually played better than both of those guys, even though he didn't get the win. So miss me with this whole, if you don't play well week one, you're not great, because we see some other guys.
I will not miss you with it, sir.
Here's the thing about it. The Rams should have been won this game, and the game shouldn't even been that close. Let's talk about their red zone woes and their 3 field goals and the missed field goal. We saw that the Rams kept the Dallas Cowboys in this game for the reasons you guys already stated. But let's not also conflate what happened at the end of this game as the bailout for the Cowboys. This is a situation where you can't push off in that situation. And if you thought you could have made that reception, Opcho, it's simple as just make the reception. But in that situation, I don't want to exaggerate what happened in that moment. To me, that was a clear PI that allowed him to get the necessary separation to make that completion. Simple as that. Cowboys' woes, you're right, Opcho, are greater than what we saw in that one play. And the game really shouldn't have been that close if the Rams were executing in the red zone.
It shouldn't have. One thing, I'm a push back on what Tony said, because I'm not necessarily mad at the Cowboys going for it on 4th down. Now, In hindsight 2020, they didn't get it. So can you trip on that? Absolutely. But when I think about it, they went for it on fourth down, roughly 12 minutes left in the game. So McCarthy's thinking to himself, okay, we're going to have 1, probably 2, maybe even 3 possessions left. But the problem, if you go for it on fourth down, Cowboys, and you don't get it, well, now you need your defense to bail you out. There's 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You got time. But then the Rams go on a 5-minute, 18-second drive. So now, Cowboys, y'all don't get the ball back till 6 minutes left. You still got time. But then you go 3 and out. Okay, so now you get the ball back with 2 minutes left. In theory, you still got time if you manage your time wisely, which you don't. But my final point, Marcellus, because when you talk about the Cowboys, you have to talk grandiose. Because it's a grandiose franchise.
The biggest.
It's a larger-than-life franchise. My problem with the Cowboys, I think about this, and I'm going to talk in business terms because Jerry Jones, their owner, is a businessman. The law of diminishing returns. The law of diminishing returns, it's used to refer to a point in which the level of profits or benefits gained is less than the amount of energy invested. Okay, why am I bringing that up?
Please tell us.
Because you have Amari Cooper. You have Michael Gallup. You got CeeDee Lamb. Sooner or later, there's a law of diminishing returns. You keep investing in all these weapons, but Dak, Goff had more yards than you offensively passing. You keep investing in all these weapons, but the Cowboys had less rushing yards than the Rams. They had less rushing yards, less passing yards, less total yards, less yards per play. And nobody in their right mind would say that Goff is supposed to be a better passer than Dak right now. And nobody in their right mind would say that the Rams have a better rushing game. So that doesn't make sense to me, Marcellus. And while, yes, I would say that Goff is a better passer, the world around us says that Dak is supposed to be top 10 and the highest paid quarterback. At least that's what you be trying to tell me every day.
Put some respect on the Hall of Famer. Talk to him, Tony.
Yeah, I agree with you. I could go back to saying Kellen Moore call some better plays because he got the talent. But then also, there is a reason why they have not given Dak the money. Why have they decided not to pay him? I don't understand it. I mean, if you believe in this guy, and I think he's a good quarterback, I think he's a
good, not great, though, right? I'm just making sure I heard you right. You said you think he's a good quarterback, not a great quarterback, right?
Dak,
don't laugh it off.
Dak is a good quarterback, but if the Jones brothers, Jones and Jones, dad and son, for whatever reason, they feel like they don't have to pay him. They don't want to pay him. They haven't done it yet, and maybe that's because of the way he's been playing. They see something that we haven't seen. But the points, you're right. They should be putting up more points. They should be putting up more yards rushing. For whatever reason, they weren't able to get it done, and we'll see how they bounce back next week.
All I'm saying is please don't put Dak's entire career and body of work in a vacuum for one game. The first game with a new head coach and the head coach and offensive coordinator trying to get the continuity.
May I interject?
I just told you he had a better week than Deshaun Watson.
Tony, let me tell you what
Jared
Marcellus does.
And Carson Wentz, but y'all all on Dak. Go ahead.
Let me tell you what Marcellus does.
That's all this is.
Because Marcellus's Clippers nonsense mentality, it's now seeped into football as well. Oh, the Cowboys, they're not a regular season team. That's what Marcellus
said. I said they're not a week one team this year.
When does it matter? Marcellus, you only get 16 games in ball, so I'm no mathematician, but that's roughly 8% of the season week one. That's just off top of the dome. So you only get, when does it matter? Because now the Cowboys, they got a first-round pick in CeeDee Lamb. You got a Super Bowl head coach. When can we judge Dak? Because let you tell it, we can never assess Dak.
You just went from judging Tom Brady in a 20-year career in a week one performance, and now that mentality has seeped into Dak now in his 5th year. Forget the first 4 years and how he stabilized the ship. We're going to just talk about week one. But then you got to, if we're going to just do week one performances, all I say, Hall of Famer, is judge him by his competition. And it's 3 guys who got paid way more than Dak Prescott, supposed to be saviors and franchise quarterbacks, Acho, that didn't look as well as Dak since
with less talent.
Oh, well, call it what you want. You got to go to T's now, big dog.
Coming up, the one thing missing from Russell Wilson's resume. And if he keep playing like this, he may get his first MVP. That's next. Speak for yourself. Presented by Honey.
I ain't going to do that no more. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's go to Seattle, where talk this offseason centered around letting Russell Wilson cook early in games, especially. That wasn't a problem Sunday as Seattle called 9 pass plays in their opening drive. Wilson finished with 4 touchdowns and only had 4 incomplete passes. Woo. Wilson had an MVP-type game, but in a complete head-scratcher, he's never had an MVP vote in his career. Joined once again by the Hall of Famer, Tony Gonzalez. But Acho, start with you, practice squad. Is this the year Russell Wilson finally wins the MVP?
I'm going to ignore that slight and get to the task at hand. Yes, it is the year that Russ wins MVP, but it's the same thing that I told you on Friday. Remember that cafeteria line analogy. They've gone through the line. That is Patrick Mahomes. He went through with his tray. MVP, please, 1 scoop. Got his MVP. Then Lamar Jackson went through with his tray. Yes, I'll take 1 MVP as well, please. Got his scoop. He kept it pushing. Tom Brady, he's got his scoop. He kept it pushing. Russell Wilson is yet to get his turn at the MVP. The only way Russ doesn't get the MVP is if we see something miraculous out of some Lamar Jackson. But we've already seen something miraculous out of Lamar Jackson. We've already seen something miraculous out of Patrick Mahomes. What we haven't yet seen is Russell Wilson get what many would argue he deserves in his MVP season. But the biggest reason I think is this. It's no longer opinion. It's no longer emotional. Now it's just statistically factual. I think for the first time since 2015, the Seahawks will have a top 10 offense and defense. The last time the Seahawks had a top 10 offense and defense, many people argued Russ should have got the MVP. The only reason he didn't was because, one, Super Cam got the MVP, the same Super Cam that knocked Russell Wilson and those Seahawks out the playoffs. So this is the year that Russ gets it because it appears Pete Carroll's going to let him cook. But more than that, the Seahawks should win the division handily, especially if they keep playing like they played yesterday. And Russ Wilson is in his prime, and he is in his bag. I think he gets it this year.
No, he doesn't get it this year. And who in the hell knows right now after week 1? Oh, Acho does, because Acho is leading the charge on Overreaction Mondays. He's already done it in 2 blocks. Tom Brady, doomed, team done after 1 week. And then he looks at a situation where we're talking about Dak Prescott. Oh, he's done. He's not going to make any money. He's going to be done after 1 week. But now he flips it, and he's like, Russell Wilson's finally going to win it all after 1 week when he's never received a vote, despite being Russell Wilson, the great. So let's talk about what came out of this week, which we all talked about, which is let Russell Wilson cook, and they did. And we saw the passing attack, even though it was a lot of screens and outlets, but still, we saw Russell Wilson cooking. And then everyone took from this game, Russell Wilson's going to win the MVP, and they started to highlight 2 line items, 2 statistical categories that said, this is why Russell Wilson's going to win the MVP. Look at his completion percentage. What was it, around 88%? Oh! And then look at his quarterback rating. What was it, like 142? Oh! And you know what's funny about those 2 stats? Russell Wilson wasn't even the best in both of those stats. Think about it. Gardner Minshew, I know he ain't winning an MVP, but he had the highest completion percentage after week 1. Acho, where's your overreaction to that? Oh, let's talk about quarterback rating. Oh, he didn't even have the highest quarterback rating. That was the reigning MVP in Lamar Jackson with 152. Where's the overreaction to that? So while you're in your lunch line getting scoops of food, the guy who already has the trophy, who already got a scoop, might just still be in line saying, give me another scoop. But Hall of Famer, set him straight.
You know what? If they keep calling plays the way they did, and I think that has a lot to do with it. I remember looking back at Tom Brady's career when he first started. He was winning Super Bowls, but a couple of times he didn't even go to the Pro Bowl. I think 2 years in a row, he wasn't even in the Pro Bowl. But they were winning Super Bowls. They were having success. And I look at Russell. I think Pete Carroll, the way he calls his plays, the way he runs his teams run, he wants to establish the run. He wants to play good defense. This is what has given them great success. But Russell Wilson, just like Tom Brady, after year 2007 hit, that's when Tom started getting MVPs of the league and started really lighting the league up instead of being, quote unquote, just a really good quarterback and a game manager. Russell Wilson is capable of doing whatever you want him to do. He is at that elite status as a quarterback. So it's really just up to the offensive coordinator and let this man throw. It shows he can do it either way you want. You have it your way. It's Burger King for him. And he's a he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And he's right up there with, in my opinion, he's right up there with Lamar. He's right up there with Mahomes. To me, you can put him in a basket and I'll pick one of them out and I'll start my franchise with him. Russell Wilson's a leader. He is, what you see is what you get. So just dial it up. You want to run the ball, he'll do it. You want to throw the ball, he'll do it. And he'll get MVP if they call the plays like they have been after one game.
Marcellus, sir. It's not an overreaction.
Okay.
I'm not throwing the haymaker just yet. I'm working the body blows. I'm working the body.
I ain't there.
It's not an overreaction to say this.
What?
DK Metcalf.
Beast.
Tyler Lockett. Healthy,
Nice.
big play guy. Greg Olsen, now working in between the hashes in the middle of the field for Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has never had top-flight receivers. He's made Doug Baldwin overachieve. He allowed Curse to go out and ball out. Jimmy Graham never really meshed with the Seahawks. So if you look at Russell Wilson, this isn't an overreaction because what did I tell you? Not only has Russ been good, but we've rarely seen the Seahawks have a thriving offense and a thriving defense. Only 5 times in Russell Wilson's career has he done what he did yesterday. That's 4 touchdowns with no picks with 300-plus passing yards. But the other 4 times he did that, Marcellus, the Seahawks lost 2 of the 4 times. So that shows me that even when Russ has been great in years past, the Seahawks are still holding him down. But now you add a Pro Bowler safety to the back end, and you add a defense that's going to contribute. Now when Russ balls, the Seahawks collectively are going to ball. That's why this isn't an overreaction. Finally, Russ is going to see and get the credit that he deserves. Yes, the media have been hyping him up. Seahawks fans more than anybody. They'll hype Russ up. But I think the world is now finally going to see, exactly what Russ is doing and how the team is having success because of it. But the last thing I'm going to say, if you check the stats, Russ also led his team in rushing yards as well. So if Russ goes on this season leading in rushing yards and leading in passing yards, how can he not get the MVP?
I want everyone in America to witness what just happened to my man Acho.
What happened?
Floyd Mayweather was my neighbor, the homie, and I used to talk to him about what really was going on in fights, especially early. Like, how did he come up with his game plan? What did he change? What did he learn in the early rounds especially? He broke it down one time. He said, in the first round, I always throw a check punch. And that check punch, pow, is that straight right to the midsection. And he said, the sound that I hear from my opponent lets me know how this fight's gonna go. That's crazy to me. But I just heard a different sound out of Acho in his second lap around because I hit him with that check punch. Pow! And he realized that, maybe I am overreacting to Russell Wilson and his greatness because his greatness so far hasn't gotten him one single MVP vote yet. It's amazing that all we're saying, and let's just distill this for what it is that there are going to be a lot of other great quarterbacks in this MVP discussion. But if there's a tie, it's about time to give it to Russell Wilson because he has the best story and he's been deprived from the MVP conversation. So that's what's going to happen. But here's the problem. This year, not only do we have Lamar Jackson, who played insane yesterday, Patrick Mahomes, who played insane on Thursday, but Aaron Rodgers is like, yoo-hoo, I got a great story over here. We were 13-3 last year, but I was having tension with my coach and our organization. Now, let's just go out there and see how I play in terms of measurables. Now you got A-Rod, Lamar, and Patrick Mahomes going out there with Russell Wilson, who's going to be right there in terms of numbers, but is trying to win with the trump card of having a better story. I'm not into all that humanitarian awards. You got to get it with your muscles, and you got to get it through performance. We'll see if Russell Wilson can sustain this, because it's been years past where Russell Wilson was in the conversation earlier in the year, and then what had happened was Mahomes or Lamar Jackson said, no thanks, I'll take that trophy.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with you. There's a lot of really good quarterbacks out there that we got a long season left. It's just one game. But I will say this, if they continue to call the plays like they did yesterday, where they're giving them they're letting them cook, letting them go out there and throw that football. He certainly has the talent with all the guys that Acho mentioned. You got Olsen down there now, who's a proven tight end. He told me that he feels better than he's felt in years. Remember, this guy's a guy who got 1,000 yards 3 times in his career. If he can get anywhere close to that to go along with Lockett, to go along with Metcalf, to go along with the running game now with Carson in the backfield, if they're incredibly balanced and they're going to be tough to stop. It's just about what the offensive coordinator wants to do. You want to let him cook, let him throw the ball more than they have in the past. He'll definitely, I think, by the end of the season, be in that conversation with all those other great quarterbacks.
Yeah, you're going to make it tough on these MVP voters. If they're using their eyes, there are going to be other quarterbacks in consideration. If they're just using their ears and hearing those violins, then maybe it's time to finally give Russell Wilson what he deserves. Coming up, the Clippers blew it over the weekend, messed up my whole weekend. And now we got to play a Game 7 with the Nuggets. We'll tell you if it's time to sell the Clippers stock next. Speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. I've never been more excited for a segment in my life. Marcellus, I'm not sure if you saw this one yesterday while you were watching football, but the Clippers, your Clippers, were supposed to be on their way to play the Lakers, but instead they blew a 19-point lead in the third quarter. And the Nuggets, they ain't never looked back. It's the second straight game the Clippers have blown a big lead, a big second-half lead, mind you. Game 7's tomorrow, and Paul George says the team is not in panic mode. Slick Rick, I couldn't be more excited to see you, my friend. But Marcellus, you first, as you have some explaining to do. Is it time to sell the Clippers stock, sir?
No. Woo! All right, first let me get my weekend off me because I'm not going to lie. A little frustrated this weekend. The football certainly helped my spirits, but it was a little tight around the Wiley house watching the Clippers give this one away. However, let's start off in the real world, Acho. And if you know anything about money and you're starting to learn it because you're hanging around me, here's the first thing you need to know. That when a stock is low, maybe that's the time to buy it. Not the time to say, let's get rid of this, sell all my Clipper stock while it's low. Because you got to understand what this Clippers team is. This is the only team that, only lost 3 straight games once this season. Guess what? The numbers say that they ain't going to lose another game. This is Kawhi Leonard, who is a champion. The only one we're talking about that is a champion in this conversation is Kawhi Leonard. And guess what Kawhi Leonard did last year in the second round? Had to go 7 games. So for once again, I have to remind Acho, because he thinks success is linear, that it's all perfect. Sometimes you got to go out there and get peppered up a little bit in a scuffle. Get scratched up, a couple of nicks here and there, just to let you know, okay, this is for real. Remember, we're playing a better team than your Lakers over there. We're not playing a mini ball team that in any other year in NBA history wouldn't even been in the playoffs. We're not talking about teams like that. We're not talking about what they did this round against the Houston Rockets, and the house was a little out of order in terms of what they were dealing with and distractions, or this small ball. We're talking about a team that was the 3rd seed that came out there and backs against the wall, brought a punch or 2. But my point is, if you sell this stock right now, man, you may be doing yourself a disservice and losing some of that money. Time!
There it is. See, Marcellus, what I love about you is how educated you are. Because only Marcellus, and all the talent on television,
I ain't talking to you.
only Marcellus Wiley could make a blown 19-point lead sound like just getting peppered up a little bit. Only Marcellus Wiley could make a Game 5 blown 16, 17-point lead be described as just getting peppered up.
Don't bring it up.
Just taking a few scratches. Marcellus, I'm glad you're not selling your Clippers stock because you can buy mine because I'm selling it. Here's my problem with the Clippers, Marcellus, and you should know this because you have youngins. They play with their food too much. That's the problem. The Clippers, they be on the court. They be playing around with their food. No, I don't want the cabbage. I don't want the peas. I don't want the carrots. Daddy, Marcellus, I don't want... Eat your food, Clippers, and stop playing with these nuggets. The problem is the Clippers don't know how to just eat their food. They keep playing around. Marcellus, as recently as Friday, was like, man, it's just a mental thing for the Clippers. Physically, they got all the talent in the world. PG, Kawhi, Zubac. You got cats off the bench and Trez, Lou Will. But mentally, the Clippers, they check in and they check out. I can't bet on a team that consistently checks out. You, Marcellus, to end this with a little economics, to end this with a little business talk, you said, you don't ever sell something when it's low. No. You don't do that. But what you do, you sell something that's plummeting.
Oh, I knew you were going to go
there. That's what the Clippers are doing. They stock, sir, is plummeting. Yeah, right. So go ahead. You can have mine.
Game 7.
Not to continue this financial analogy, but I will. Marcellus, I can't go with yours because I'm not buying the Clipper stock low. I bought it high. I bought it after they got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and they beat the Lakers not only on opening night, but on Christmas Day. So I can't sell the stock now as much as everything tells me that I probably should. And that's why I have a financial planner, and I never became one. Because there's people that make these decisions, and I don't know that I would say that it's an emotional decision, but for the reason that the Clippers have had troubling signs all year long, and I've said, but they'll come out of it. They'll come out of it. I simply can't jump off of that now. I still have to believe that they're going to come out of it. And ultimately, this is the beauty of 7-game series, is that the better team always wins. And so am I going to focus on the fact that they blew 2 leads in games 5 and 6? Or am I going to focus on the fact that those were 18 and 19-point leads and the Clippers did it to themselves, which to me says it's correctable. The Nuggets are not part of this equation. The only question I have is I've seen the Clippers drop a game like this. I've never seen them drop 2 in a row like this to put them on the brink of elimination. So does this get them back to business, or is this a confidence crusher? That's the answer that I don't know, but I'm going to let my stock ride because I invested so much and find out.
Here's my thing, Slit. Because as you start to analyze the Clippers roster, you say, okay, well, was PG the problem? I can't blame him. He had 30. Was Kawhi the problem? Now we can't blame him. He's a finals MVP. Can we blame the dudes off the bench? I mean, technically we can't because, you know, they're coming off the bench. Was Pat Bev the problem? In theory, but he's Pat Bev. You're not really counting on him to win you the game. So you go through the roster and you say, I can't find the issue. The problem is you're looking at the wrong place. You got to go to the head coach. You got to go to the head coach. And I don't like speaking negatively about Doc Rivers because I respect him as a man, as a father, as a champion, and as an individual. But Marcellus, can I also tell you, because, sir, you taught me more than anything, it's facts over feelings. Doc Rivers has blown an NBA record. 9 playoff series when he was leading. 4 times with the Clippers. But even think about Doc Rivers' championship team, his 08 Celtics. Woo, KG, PG, KG, Allen, Rondo, Paul Pierce. You think about that squad. They played 26 out of a maximum 28 games to win it. He was up 2-0 against them Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta tied it up. He was up 2-0 against them Cavs. Them Cavs tied it up. So Doc Rivers actually, Sir Marcellus Wiley, has actually shown the ability to trick things off, if you will, when he has it up, when he has things going good. So although I look at the Clippers roster and I struggle with who to fault, sometimes you just got to go to the head coach, even if it is the great Doc Rivers.
You know what? I learned this in life, and it's really hit me in the heart and the head working on this show with Acho. It's a weird dynamic to be better than somebody but not always win, because I don't always win every argument against them, most of them, but you know what? It's just weird. Like, you go out there and you're not mailing it in. Like Slick Rick said, it's not the Clippers aren't getting themselves into perfect position, up 16, up 19. Is that they're also putting themselves in a compromised position, and I think it's the symptoms of the inconsistency. And it's not just inconsistency in behavior, but in just being out there together to form that chemistry. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard only played 38 games together this year. And I love load management like the next guy if it works. But I will be reminded, like I was reminded last year with load management in the second round when it went 7, when he was down 2-0 to the Milwaukee Bucks and then came back, that it's hard to form that chemistry on the fly. And you'll see some of those symptoms. The violins are struggling. But the point of it is, do not give up on this Clippers team. Only once this year did we lose 3 straight. And that was when we played Philly, Boston, and Sacramento 3 straight. We lost those. But that's not this situation here. If you're already invested in this stock, you're smart to keep this stock as we advance to play the Lakers.
Acho, I agree with you. It is on Doc, and it is on Kawhi Leonard. And I disagree with you. It is to a certain extent on the bench in terms of Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams. Those 2 guys have not played to what we've seen their capability is with this team. But ultimately, that falls on Doc to say, Montrez, if you're not getting it done, Lou, if you're not getting it done, I need to go in another direction. I need to play either guys longer or I need to go to other guys on this team because we've talked about the depth and versatility of this Clippers team. And ultimately, when they get stagnant offensively, Kawhi Leonard, Don't let that happen. You are the leader and the most experienced guy on this team. And it's not even offense, to be honest with you. It's defense. Kawhi, we saw it against Luka. You decided in a last-second situation you're going to take him. And then an easy switch comes, and you allow the switch. We saw it again in the last game with Jokic. He took him, and there comes a switch. He accepts the switch. Kawhi, get dug in and lead this team defensively, because it wasn't an issue offensively. It was a matter of they stopped playing and matching the Nuggets' energy defensively. And when it's energy and effort, that is within your control. That's why I can't sell the stock, because what has happened to the Clippers is something that is correctable. And I have to believe that with their aspirations, Doc, Kawhi, and the Clippers collectively are going to find a way to correct it.
Damn right.
All I got is this.
That was a good sermon there.
Marcellus, sir.
Preaching, brother. We got this.
I wish you were my coach, because you just have such a great way of making excuses.
Yeah, I'm pretty good
and
at
sir,
that.
all you do is make excuses, and I ain't got no time for it.
Fake it till you make it. That's the goal. That's
Coming up in our big story, it is not all sunshine in Tampa, as Bruce Arians is already criticizing the GOAT Tom Brady for throwing 2 picks on Sunday. We'll tell you if we like Brady being called out by his head coach. That's next. Speak for yourself.
You're watching Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley, a bruised up Emmanuel Acho.
A little bit. He got me with a little black eye, but I came out the corner ready to throw punches this out.
No blood on your shirt, so you're all good, big dog. Let's get it started with our big story presented by Hyundai. Let's return to Tom Brady, who had a Bucs debut to forget yesterday. Brady threw 2 interceptions, including a pick-6, that helped the Saints get the season-opening win. Brady said he made some terrible turnovers, while his coach Bruce Arians didn't hold back on calling out the GOAT's mistakes. Listen to this.
One was a miscommunication between he and Mike, and he thought Mike was going down the middle. It was a different coverage. Mike read it right, and he should have bent across his face, but Tom just overthrew it. And the other one was it was a screen pass with an outlet called, and he threw the outlet, and it was a pick-6. Bad decision.
Arians walked back this criticism of Brady on the Evans play this morning. Brady was like, hey, cuz, chill out. All right, but Acho, do you like Arians calling Brady out?
Bro, I hate this, man.
You hate it?
Keep this in-house. Keep this in-house, B.A. I love B.A. as a head coach. I like his swag. I think he's one of the best offensive minds. I don't know about collectively as a team, but one of the best offensive minds the game has seen in this generation. But come on, B.A., you're going to go out as soon as the game is over. Your quarterback who didn't really have a meaningful offseason, first time playing with you along with all of these receivers outside of his tight end, gonna struggle early, and you gonna pour salt in the wound? That's my job. Let me come in here with my salt and pour it on.
Right,
you the head coach. You're not supposed to do that. But also, Marcellus, it's almost like Tom Brady, he's not calling you out, B.A., because it wasn't Tom Brady who was on kick return, who had the miscommunication, and now all of a sudden y'all drop a pooch kick and let the Saints not make it a 2-possession game, but a 3-possession game and put the game out of reach. You don't hear players go out and say, man, well, you know, Bruce Arians, he just doesn't have a great control over the special teams. If they wouldn't have done that, maybe we still would have won the game. You don't hear that. So I hate Bruce Arians coming out, calling out his quarterback, specifically under these unique situations. It's almost like this, Marcellus. This is how I'm in my first lap. Everybody's like, oh, Tom Brady's the GOAT. So is Bruce Arians going to be too nice to him? And instead, Bruce Arians is ODing on the opposite side, being overly critical of a situation when he shouldn't have been this critical, at least not this publicly critical. What do you gain? Because you got a whole lot to lose.
Wow. Old saying comes to mind. How you got there is how you're going to get there. And remember, the stork dropped off Tom Brady 20 years ago to Bill Belichick. And Bill Belichick saw this little 6th-round, 199th pick dude with the chest going inward, couldn't run a 40, and was like...
Concave chest.
Yeah, the concave.
Concave chest.
And said, let's see how can I get the most out of him. And I have to look at it. Where are the buttons to push? Oh, he likes challenges. Oh, he likes to be embarrassed to answer to said challenge. Oh, I could test him no matter how great he becomes. And what the stork dropped off and what the stork dropped off in Tampa was 2 different guys. Went from a 6th-rounder to the GOAT. And now the stork says, here, Bruce Arians. And Bruce Arians' first thing he says is, let me read the room and learn Tom Brady. And then come to the same realization Bill Belichick did. It's pretty Belichickian. I got to push his buttons. And everywhere Tom Brady goes, he is treated like God. Everywhere Tom Brady goes, he is the GOAT. But damn it, in this team, on this team, in this culture, I'm going to need for him to be the same guy he was that got here. So this is him just pushing buttons. Bruce Arians is not talking about Tom Brady, the actor. He's talking about Tom Brady in action. And he's talking about the acts. And he's talking about how Tom Brady, don't blame the playbook, because your first possession, what happened? Tom Brady marched him down the field, touchdown, quarterback sneak. And then it all fell apart. And it's not all on Tom Brady, because it's never been all on Tom Brady. But there's something about pushing that button outwardly, publicly, for us to see that motivates Tom Brady.
Here's the problem that I think Bruce Arians needs to be aware of. And the game of football, it has correlations and parallels to the game of life.
Life, yeah.
Bill Belichick, although he was never this publicly critical of Tom Brady, he could be more critical of Tom Brady. Why? Because they had a built-in relationship. Marcellus, my brother Sam Macho can call me up on the phone and be like, hey, E, I don't like what you did here, there, or in between. Because we have a built-in relationship. We got years. But let a stranger come in and give me that same phone call. Who are you? And why are you talking to me like that? You don't know me. So, Bruce Arians, when you sit here and publicly say it was on Tom Brady, that interception, or I don't know what Tom Brady was doing, or what Bruce Arians said even this morning, which we didn't run, is I don't know what Tom Brady didn't look like that in practice. He looked like the Tom Brady of old in practice. So it's weird to get into a ball game and see him look like that. Bruce Arians said everything they did, we were ready for. So if everything they did, you was ready for, you're exclusively blaming Tom Brady. The only job of a coach, ladies and gentlemen, is this. You want to make sure that when your players step onto the field, they don't see anything new. I was talking to my coaches back when I was in the league, and my Hall of Fame coach, he always said this. He said, look, Acho, he said, I just want to make sure that you have practiced everything. Because now I've done my job, I can wipe my hands.
Yeah.
That's what Bruce Arians said. He said, look, Tom Brady saw all the looks. So I don't know what's going on. Marcellus, I'm just wondering, how does Bruce B.A. gain anything by publicly criticizing the GOAT, especially when y'all ain't got that kind of relationship?
Well, look, if you listen to him in its entirety, he criticized everyone he thought made a damn mistake.
Did he criticize himself?
He actually did, because he said, look, he actually did. He said, I came into this year saying that we can win this division. I came into this year saying that the Saints have won it the last 3 years and they shouldn't be able to just mail it in. But we beat ourselves, and that's on me. Bruce Arians said that. But then he starts to talk about, how do we get a kick blocked? Look, you shouldn't let a guy beat you to the inside. If he's going to beat you, he can't beat you to the inside. We know that. How do you muff a kick return? He's like, look, dude, from high school they teach you never run backwards.
Don't run backwards.
Don't run backwards. So that's not on Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians is basically, he's trying to win the psychological game by saying, I criticize myself, I criticize all these players, and since you're the GOAT, I can't give you special treatment, and I'm going to have to criticize you as well. Let's move on to the new quarterback in New England, Cam Newton, who gave the Patriots offense a different look than the Brady years. Cam rushed for 2 touchdowns to help beat the Dolphins. Cam's 75 rush yards was the most by a Patriots quarterback in over 40 years, and his 15 carries were the most ever by a Patriots quarterback. So, Acho, is the Cam-led Patriots offense sustainable?
I think it's absolutely sustainable. Let me defeat the first argument. The only real argument to say that this offense isn't sustainable is to say that, well, Cam Newton might get hurt. But remember, when Cam Newton got hurt in 2018, when Cam Newton got hurt in 2019, it wasn't running the football. So don't buy into the lazy take that, well, Cam Newton's going to get hurt if he carries the ball. Nah, he got hurt passing the ball. A sack by J.J. Watt, and he hurt his foot earlier the year prior. So, to me, Cam Newton running the ball isn't what's going to be the limiting reactant. The limiting reactant will be, will teams adjust? But Josh McDaniels has shown the ability, the phenomenal ability to out-scheme you. Remember, Brian Flores, the coach for the Dolphins, which the Patriots beat yesterday, he came from the Patriots 2 years ago. Safeties coach for the Patriots, linebackers coach for the Patriots, knows the Patriots inside and out. Yet Josh McDaniels still moved his queen and said, check, check, until finally saying checkmate. So I do think it's sustainable, because when I think about Cam Newton and what he had to do for the Patriots, Marcellus, he didn't have to do a lot.
He didn't do a lot?
He didn't. Threw the ball 19 times. That's it. Completed 15 of them. They said, hey, Cam, don't turn the ball over. We will win the game. Just don't do anything crazy. Didn't have to do a lot. Threw the ball completed 15 times, rushed the ball 15 times, 75 yards. Hey, Cam, don't do too much. We're just going to have you do enough. As long as the Patriots continue to keep the game plan within Cam Newton's wheelhouse, it's absolutely sustainable.
This is not sustainable, big dog. And I love you, and I love Cam even more than you in terms of his performances. However, they caught him on camera grabbing that hammy. And you don't grab the hammy because you're sitting there in a clean pocket. You grab the hammy when you're being Cam Newton, out there extending yourselves. As you know, how you flex from your buttocks to your knee. Your hamstring sits there and says, please don't overextend or you will tweak me. And Cam Newton got caught tweaking that hammy. May not be an issue, but I don't think this is sustainable because of those situations. Cam Newton's on pace right now to have 192 rushes. Cam Newton has only had 139 rushes. That's the most in 1 year. Cam Newton's going to surpass that and already felt the effects of running the ball and being physical out there. So here's the real thing about it. You say don't be lazy. Don't you be lazy.
Talk to me.
Don't you sit there and say, Brian Flores, you were there with the Patriots for 10 years. How come you didn't know this game plan? Because Brian Flores is going to push back. Hey, dog, I was there when they had Tom Brady. I ain't never seen this with with the situation with Josh McDaniels. So Josh McDaniels sits there and says, I got a new action figure to play around with. So that's why this is not something even the Miami Dolphins could prepare for. No preseason, compromise offseason, and then you get Cam Newton in a new situation that had a statue for 20 years. Caught everyone off guard.
I'm not worried about Cam's tight hamstring, but let me tell you why. Cam ain't played a game in over a year. Last time Cam played was September 12th of 2019.
Good point.
So, you know, bro, how you get in football shape? What's the only way to get in football shape?
Play football.
That's the only way. You can run as many half-gassers. LeVar, I know you watching this as a high school coach. Them half-gassers ain't going to do nothing for that squad.
No.
The only way you can get in football shape is playing football. So Cam Newton, the fact of the matter is, he finished the game, Marcellus. That's the only thing I care about. He finished the game healthy. He almost threw some hands when they tried to snatch his chain. I feel you, but that wasn't no issue. But now when I think about this is, when you're watching tape preparing for the Patriots, when you're watching tape preparing for any team, you usually have to go back 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Because you need a body of work, the whole film cycle.
Yep.
3 to 4 weeks in the NFL is really the same in college. Nobody's really going to figure out what the Patriots are doing until 3, 4, 5 weeks in. That's when you're going to be like, okay, if the Patriots line up in this formation, you'll see this. If they line up in that formation, you'll see that. I don't know that anybody's really going to have a great feel of this Patriots team. I think as long as their defense continues to play well, which they did yesterday, I think as long as Cam Newton doesn't have to play great. You do not need to be super Cam. You just need to be above average. The Patriots will win 10 to 12 games, should win the division, have to fight it with the Bills, and they're going to be all right.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I don't know where you're getting this energy from in terms of this being sustainable. You're using the trampoline of what we saw yesterday, and that was a 5-win Dolphin team that played against an unknown team, especially offensively, and new play calling, new playbook. And you're going to use that to give you that much energy about this being sustainable. Cam Newton threw for 155 yards. I don't give a damn what film cycle you got. If he just continues to go out there and only throw for 155 yards, chances are you're not going to win those games. But even if you finish the deal, is how much did you have to go through to finish that deal? The chunk of flesh that you lose in the process. Watch Cam Newton, even in a touchdown run, have to lose a chunk of flesh. Now, Cam still got them wheels. I don't give a damn how big and old he gets. But in a situation like, now watch Cam Newton right here. In this situation, he's going to take one, and boom, okay. And the celebration, y'all going to get to celebration? Because this is more important. They're going to get to celebration. I love y'all. Watch it. Hey, you know what all that is, deflection. Where am I? Okay. Oh, here I am. That's an offensive lineman. He's on my team, same color. I don't know. That's a touchdown run that may go unnoticed to the naked eye. But if you watch Cam Newton in even that moment, he felt a little punch right there. Coming up, the Eagles looked like they were cruising into a Week 1 win. And then Acho's boy, Carson Wentz, totally fell apart. We'll tell you if it's time to worry. Next, Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself, as much as it pains me. We got to talk about Carson Wentz, whose Eagles did not look like NFC East defending champs on Sunday. Wentz had 3 turnovers including 2 picks. He was also sacked a career-high 8 times in a loss to the Washington football team. Wentz said, quote, "I've got to get better. Starts with me." Joined now by NFL analyst LeVar Arrington, but Marcellus, unfortunately, you up first. Should the Eagles be worried about Carson Wentz?
Oh, where's your name on that bar at the bottom? It should be Acho and the Eagles, and yes, they need to be worried about Carson Wentz. This is your Clipper segment right here. This is when you feel the pain. Karma comes back to you, Acho. I know you love your Eagles. However, this is troubling. What I saw yesterday was unbelievable. And I'm not even trying to talk in hyperbole. Unbelievable, because this was a scenario that unfolded, that presented itself that no one imagined, that Carson Wentz would actually be healthy and bad as a performer. Hold on, wait a minute, what do you mean? Oh, because everyone got caught up in the sauce like I did. Either Carson Wentz is going to be great on the field or he's going to get injured and not be on the field. You mean there's another category that we have to start to look at Carson Wentz through, which is he's out there, but he's not looking great. Look, they started off fast. We get it. Look, they had offensive line issues. 3 offensive linemen down. You come into the game, you lose a 4th one. I get that. But there was a cocktail of issues, not just bad offensive line play, but a quarterback that was holding the ball too long. In his own words, he's still trying to figure out, when should I be a gunslinger and throw it down the field? And when should I just be a game manager and dink and dunk? He still hasn't figured that out, and he's a franchise quarterback. So I got to push back on what I saw yesterday and say, open your minds, America. There is now a situation at play that could really accelerate Jalen Hurts being inserted into this lineup, and it's because, not because he's injured, not because he was out there and looking great, it's because Carson Wentz actually played bad. Who would have thunk it?
Should the Eagles be worried? A little bit. They should be concerned,
Yes.
but here's why.
Come on,
it's because I think Carson Wentz, he might have a little PTSD from last season. What do I mean? Last season, Carson Wentz had to do everything for the Eagles, specifically at the end of last season. He didn't have a ton of talent at the tight end and receiver position because so many guys were hurt. But it's not the same this year. So last year, Carson Wentz had to try to hit a home run every play. This year, Carson, you don't need to hit a homer every play. Sometimes you can swing and just hit the single. But let me show you what happened yesterday, because yesterday, Carson hit a home run early on in the game. It's 10-0. The Eagles are having their way. That linebacker's in man-to-man on Goddard. You see him right there at the number 2 position. He's in man. The receiver, Goddard, beats both the linebacker and the safety. Carson throws the ball perfectly. Outside shoulder makes Goddard adjust to catch it. Ooh, that was so sweet. Carson, you just hit the home run. So now it's 17-0. It's about 2 minutes left. You're about to go into half, but this is when I need you to hit the single, Carson. This is when I need you to hit the single. I told y'all, 17-0. You got 1:44 on the clock. The Eagles are having their way with the Redskins. Carson, just hit Ertz. Just hit the check down. Just hit the check down. Just hit the check down. Don't hit the home run. Just hit the check down interception. Damn it. And just like that, you open up the door, give the Redskins a chance, and the Redskins, really, from that play on, they had their way. The Eagles need to be a little bit concerned, not because Wentz doesn't have the ability, but because this year, they don't need the same thing that they had last year from Wentz. Don't hit a home run every play, Carson Wentz. Sometimes it's okay. Just hit the single and live to play another play.
I like what you're saying there, Acho. I think y'all both make great points, but no, there's no reason to be worried about Carson Wentz right now. What needs to take place is there needs to be more preparation. The point that you just made, Acho, is a coaching point. All right, I heard you reference me as a coach earlier on in the show. Appreciate the shout out. And here's the thing. Those are conversations that you have to have on the sideline. Carson Wentz, by and far, was very, very consistent in what his achievements were during this game. In the first half of the game, he throws 22 passes and completes 14. All right, 1 interception, 4 sacks. All right, second half, pretty much the same. 10 completions, 20 attempts, 1 interception, and guess how many sacks? 4 sacks. To me, this is all about being concerned about the preparation that goes into finishing a game. They started fast, they did well, but what they did not do, as you can see in that video right there, they did not protect Carson Wentz the way that they needed to protect him. And furthermore, when you start to look at some of those passes that Carson Wentz made, judgment in the eye of the storm can be altered. Different scenarios can play out when 53 is in your face that fast. We saw that take place in other games, right? So to me, I don't think you need to panic right now. If I'm a coaching staff, I want to communicate to Carson Wentz a little clearer. Like you said, Acho, look, you don't have to look downfield. Our linemen are stinking right now. They're stinking up the field, so look intermediate to short. Don't look deep right now. We're up 17-0. Okay, they're coming back 17-7. Let's dink and dunk. Let's take what they give us. I think this is more about them fixing and tying up coaching-wise more so than it is singling out Carson Wentz and saying he's a problem.
Damn. I didn't know y'all had his address to be sending all these Hallmark cards to Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz ain't no rookie.
Not at all.
Oh, you know what? You don't need to hit the home run all the time. I think he heard that in high school when he was getting coached by a high school coach like LeVar. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to say, Carson Wentz, you don't need to hit the home run all the time. I'm going to tell you what's really going to motivate Carson Wentz better get his butt right or else.
Don't do it. don't say no nonsense right now.
In business, the greatest motivator is money. Incentives shape behavior. Ain't no damn way. Upstairs, they're going to let Carson Wentz be the 8th highest paid quarterback, but the 4th worst quarterback in terms of performance. Look at these numbers. This dude is making dough. And I ain't mad at him making that dough. But if you make dough, you got to go out there and show. And right now, if this continues, remember, he's already walked in PTSD because of his injury reputation. And no one ever fathomed that he would actually be healthy and look bad, because we haven't seen that from Carson Wentz. But now he's introducing another narrative. 8th highest paid, 4th worst after week 1? Oh, that can't add up to being good things for Carson Wentz going forward.
The problem I have, LeVar, is that I do agree with Marcellus's first half. Not the nonsensical mathematics he just threw on the screen that you need a TI 84 plus to divide and dead cap and non-dead cap and a live cap and the course of cap. No, I don't care about all that.
You don't be
what I do say, though, is this.
What?
Carson Wentz is in year 5. And so, yes, Doug Peterson is a Super Bowl head coach and I think one of the top 5 head coaches in the game right now. But Doug Peterson can't continue to remind Carson Wentz, like, hey, bro, don't throw the field out with the cornerback that's already sitting. Like, the cornerback is sitting waiting. Remember, they picked him off on that out. Like, don't sit here and throw the field out. Just throw the check down. I'm giving Carson Wentz a lot of grace for a lot of things. But I can't give him grace for those things because he is that good. Yeah. Like, Carson Wentz is, in fact, too good to make the mistakes he made yesterday, particularly when you know this. And Marcellus, you played on the D-line. LeVar, you and I both played on defense. The best way to stop a pass rush, a crazy pass rush, which the Washington football team has, get the ball out quick. Like, if linemen have to rush and ball's gone, y'all hear the ref, ball gone. If the more often that happens, you just get tired of rushing. You get tired of blitzing. You get tired of all of it. But Carson Wentz, holding up every time, trying to hit the homer. He's just sitting there letting the D-line start to eat and letting them start to get more hungry. Your right tackle, Lane Johnson, is hurt. Brandon Brooks is hurt. Carson, you got to realize my offensive line, they're not going to be able to save me this game. It is on Carson Wentz. Now, they don't need to be long-term concerned because Carson, to me, he didn't look bad yesterday. He looked amazing, and he looked awful. But it wasn't like during the course of the game, you're like, he just doesn't look good. No, first half, he was 14 for 18, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns, first half prior to that interception. So he looked amazing, and then he looked awful. So the Eagles just have to make sure they can just continue to get him to look amazing because Carson Wentz is that good, can't afford to be making rookie mistakes.
I'm going to continue to disagree with you guys. And listen, I can sympathize with what you guys are saying as players. And as a player, I would have that take. But as a coach, it's interesting. When I was helping as an assistant D coordinator and as a linebackers coach, my perspective of how we approach game plans was very focused and dialed into that. When I became a head coach, it became way more a widened spectrum of what I needed to focus in on. That's not for Doug Peterson to be sitting there with his guy. It's the offensive coordinator. It's the passing game coordinator. It's the quality control guy who gets all of that information. We don't have that in high school. So I think it's interesting And it's almost damning every single time you make reference to a high school football coach and how they handle things. This is something that should have been handled back then. But in reality, they're getting paid more. These coaches are getting paid more. These coaches have more resources to make sure that little things, as little as that, guys, like, let's think about this. You look at the Windows Touch, the Microsoft Touch, whatever it is that they're using on the sideline, and they're looking at this, right? And they're looking at the film and the footage. We're able to do that in high school too, but not to the level they are. And it takes a very simple conversation to an intelligent, willing young man to be able to understand that
these
are some of the things you have to do differently.
Here's my issue, LA, because you wore the mic in your helmet as a middle linebacker as I wore.
No, I didn't. I was never a middle backer. No.
Okay. Well, I'm sure at least you know the concept. So
I understand the concept.
Every play, your defensive coordinator, he's going to tell you something with the mic in your helmet off the sideline. Hey, Acho, he's going to give you the play call. Then he's going to give you a little nugget. 3rd and long, watch for a screen. Hey, tell Marcellus don't get too far upfield. Watch for the draw. I can't blame Doug Peterson every play. He can't be like, hey, Wentz, remember, take the check down if it's there. Next play. Hey, Wentz, remember, take the check down if it's there. Sooner or later, there's a level of maturation you have either for your mic backer with the mic in his helmet or your quarterback to where, like, you remind him of the large-scale details. But I'm not going to
on the sideline, not in his ear. On the sideline. But I'm saying, you're right, but not in his ear.
But that's my point.
He's got to make that decision. Right, I got you.
You feel me?
And I understand that. Yes, I do, Acho, but you still got to understand as a coach. It's just like, and you'll be able to sympathize or understand this one, Marcellus. I could tell, I was doing schoolwork with my daughter just this morning. They were learning how to do T's. It's probably the easiest letter to write in the alphabet is T's, right? Maybe an L is easier.
2 lines.
All right. Hit the top line, take the line down to the bottom line, right? My daughter was missing the top line and was making her line down to the bottom line short. And she did it at least 4 or 5 times before we got to the point of where she was making the T properly on the paper. And I know you'll say, well, she's young, she's just learning how to write. But as a coach, this is what is different from being a player. You have to have the understanding that you have to explain it until you can't explain it anymore. You cannot give up on explaining what's right just because it should be right. And I've already said it to you 2 or 3 times that it should be right. You have to continue to drive the points home. And y'all talked about it earlier with how Arians was responding to what Tom Brady did. If those things are left unresolved or unaddressed and not discussed and talked about, then you're just as much culpable as the player is himself, because you know you're getting paid the dollars to do something, and that is impact what their knowledge and their understanding of what it is their job is to do out there on the field. And that should fall in the hands of the offensive coordinator and those other people so Doug Peterson doesn't have to worry about that. Otherwise, you don't need any other coaches. Just put one coach out there on the field for offense, one coach out there on the defense for defense.
Hey, man, y'all just gave me word salads on something that's really simple. And if you're making that much damn money, we can't be sitting out there holding your hand the whole time. 3rd and 7 on the 24-yard line driving in. Even if you don't score, there's one thing you know from playing football since Pee-wee. Don't take a sack. He took a 13-yard sack. Now we're saying don't take a sack. We're saying don't always try to hit the home run. Now I'm going to sit there and keep it 100 with him. Don't play yourself out of the position because that's going to hurt. Jalen Hurts. Coming up, Aaron Rodgers showed why he is a future Hall of Famer Sunday. We'll tell you if his performance sent a message. Next! Mr. Transition in the field. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers, who was surrounded by talk this offseason that his days in Green Bay could be numbered because of the drafting of Jordan Love. Wrong. Rodgers went off on the Vikings Sunday with 4 touchdown passes and over 350 passing yards for the season-opening win. LeVar's back with us, but Acho, did Aaron Rodgers send a message in their win Sunday?
He absolutely sent a message, but he sent a message that I didn't need to receive, but I think a lot of people, including head coach Matt LaFleur, did. Think about this. You go out there and you draft yourselves a first-round quarterback because you're like Aaron Rodgers has to some degree, be on the decline. But then Aaron Rodgers comes out and throws for 4 tugs, no picks, and dominates against the divisional opponent. He definitely sent a message, and the message is very simple. I am still in my prime to a degree. I am still a top 5 quarterback. I am still that man. And y'all wasted an entire pick trying to draft somebody else to prove that I wasn't. Think about this when y'all kick back and y'all have y'all's fantasy leagues and whatnot. The Packers do not have a top 5, top 10 receiving core. Outside of Devontae Adams, y'all probably can't name 1 to 2 other receivers on the Packers. What? Yet here Aaron Rodgers is out here looking like superstars, like his receivers are all world. So he definitely sent a message. The message didn't necessarily need to be sent, but it absolutely got delivered.
Aaron Rodgers sent a message loud and clear, and it sent it to anybody that was watching that game, that he can beat you at your own game by playing your game. Think about that. Last year, coming into the offseason, throughout the offseason and going into the season, there seemed to be a tug-of-war between him and Matt LaFleur. There seemed to be a tug-of-war in terms of Aaron Rodgers the great, and now he has this young coach and first-year head coach, and is he going to buy in? And there seemed to be friction, dissension. But they won 13 games and one game away from the Super Bowl. But there still seemed to be this little friction. Then they go into this offseason, and we're saying, okay, how are they going to play next year? How are they going to buy into each other next year? Because there was a less of Aaron Rodgers last year that meant more of a team success. And what happened? They move up in the draft and draft Jordan Love, a player that can't help them this year and won't get on the field this year. And Aaron Rodgers had to feel slighted. But you know what happened in that game of tug-of-war between him and Matt LaFleur? He just let the rope go. He said, okay, no more tension. I'm buying in, but I could beat you at your own game and go out there and have a clean game, a great game, near perfect game. No sacks. We're talking about no interceptions, 4 touchdowns. And now Aaron Rodgers and his genius, and I'm not just talking about football genius, the dude's smart and snarky as hell, looking at y'all like, beating y'all quietly, playing your game. So I think that was the message. I felt it loud and clear.
No, it was not a message that was sent. And here's the thing, right?
Raggy?
I remember on the date of August 13th, I said something to this effect. Run the tape. I could sit here and say, honestly, that's as good as me is Patrick Mahomes. There's a lot of quarterbacks underneath that list of guy that he just brought up in that situation. You know, that's ether right there. So there was a point in time where people were like, you know, Jay-Z's the man, Jay-Z. Jay-Z even got bold enough to go at one Nostradamus. He went at my man Nas, right? But Nas was always great. He was always there. But it was like, you know, Jay-Z was there. Jay-Z starts to blow up. Well, this was an ether game. He was telling y'all all along, I will not lose, right? Okay. But y'all wasn't paying attention. He was trying to tell y'all that I'm dope out here.
Yeah.
Y'all, I was spitting my bars. Y'all just didn't want to pay attention to it. I told y'all he said that on April 13th. All right. The game took place yesterday. He did what he was supposed to do. Now all of a sudden we're trying to figure out if he was sending a message. No, the message has been there. Y'all just wasn't paying attention.
Y'all gonna rap lyrics. Y'all lucky we gotta go to break because I was about to go Jay-Z takeover and come back on that. We'll get to that next time.
Well, we'll have to wait.
Coming up, new season, same old Browns, Browns. We'll let you know if we were disappointed in them yesterday or just really impressed by the Ravens. Speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's move to the AFC North, where the Ravens stomped the Browns 38-6. Lamar Jackson, he showed why he's the reigning MVP with 3 touchdown passes. Well, Baker Mayfield, let's just say he did the opposite. He threw an interception on the opening drive, and the Browns had 3 total turnovers in the blowout loss to Baltimore. So, Marcellus, let me go to you, bro. You more impressed with the Ravens, or are you disappointed in the Browns?
Disappointed in the Browns, and that's tough because I was hella impressed by the Ravens, but God, here we go again. The Cleveland Browns do it again. I want people to know who I am. I'm a humanitarian.
Okay, who else?
I am a person that roots for every single player in the league because they've accomplished their dream, and now I want them to go out there and accomplish greatness.
Absolutely.
But I'm also going to keep it 100 whenever I have to criticize because I see lackluster performances. This was inept. This is bad. And this is deja vu. Y'all get a new coach this year. Baker Mayfield tells me, oh, I'm going to let my play do all the talking this year. And you go out there and you lose 38-6 by 32 points. Last year, y'all had a new coach, and last year, Baker Mayfield was coming off of a good year. We were like, oh, Baker Mayfield's going to go out there and ball out. Week 1, spanked Tennessee Titans 43-13. You lost by 30 points last year. You know what the Cleveland Browns are? The Cleveland Browns. Like, this is it. Like, I don't want to hear anything else about Baker having a greater offseason, and he learned to focus, and this is the new way. And always talking about, well, we had distractions last year. We had injuries last year. We had coaching issues last year. That's every damn team in the NFL. Can you stay still in the mirror and look a little longer at yourself and stop the finger pointing because it looks like deja vu?
And I'm going to be honest. I actually feel bad. I feel bad for Browns fans. I'm more disappointed in the Browns. And I feel bad for Browns fans. I always will remember that you all drafted me, gave me a chance to live out my dream. But the Browns have just been so bad for so long. But it's not about being bad, Marcellus, because some teams go through downward slopes. The problem is the Browns lie to us and their fans every single year. You got a new head coach, Kevin Stefanski. Oh, the play-action pass game is going to be marvelous for Baker Mayfield. Stefanski did wonders with Kirk Cousins with play-action pass. What Baker's going to be able to do with play-action pass, going to be marvelous. Odell Beckham, well, I'm healthy this year. It's time for me to ball. Jarvis Landry, he a baller. Browns have a double-headed monster at running back. If you look at the Browns' skill positions, between Odell, Jarvis, David Njoku, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, that is a top 8. In my opinion, backfield skill position in the league.
I'll give you that.
And then you're going to come out here and not just lose. I don't mind losing. Like Marcellus, you said, 50% of teams lost on Sunday. But how come the Browns have to get embarrassed? Like, I don't mind losing. It happens. We all going to take L's. But the biggest loss prior to the Browns was 14 points. That was the biggest loss all weekend. Out of all those games, out of 15 games, the most lopsided game was 14 points. And then here come the Browns, and y'all lose by 32. It's an embarrassment for the franchise. I feel bad for I can't even say I feel bad for the players because they are a contributing factor, but I feel bad for the fans because every year they buy in.
Yeah.
Every year they think this is a year. And then lastly, Marcellus,
Go ahead.
to add insult to injury,
We got time.
after you finish watching your Browns take a terrible loss, right? Say you kick back, you in the dog pound, you're Browns fans. You're like, you know what? I just watched terrible football. Let me go watch some great football. And now what? You got to watch a Baker Mayfield commercial every 30 seconds. Like, so now I'm just even more ticked off because not only is my quarterback out here sorry, now I got to watch him go advertise for this other stuff. Win a game.
Man, look, you can lie to the fans. You can lie to us. But one thing you shouldn't do, even as a player, is lie to yourself. I am going to not talk about how impressive my career was because that's just accolades. I'm going to impact y'all by talking about my scars. I know how it feels to fall off because I was at the top and I fell off. So take it from a guy who has fallen off. That 53% in completion percentage, week 1, new coach, new energy, everyone's healthy. That sounds like falling off. And if Baker Mayfield isn't careful, in that same draft, we saw someone who was picked number 10 that some people thought should have been number 1 overall, and Josh Rosen. And if you want to know what Josh Rosen is up to right now, Baker Mayfield, he's on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right there, watching the game. Damn near cyber. He's in the stands watching the game at the 10th overall pick. The writing's going to be on the wall really soon for Baker Mayfield if he doesn't right this ship. Coming up, get your popcorn ready, because Uncle Jimmy will give us a letter grade for today's show. That's next. Speaking of the Before we go, let's bring in Uncle Jimmy. What letter grade would you give today's show, Hey,
man, let me ask you a question, Wiley.
Yeah.
You good today?
I'm all right. Yeah, it's Monday. You know what I'm saying? Tough weekend. Clippers lost.
Hey, man, because you showing today while you playing like a real Clippers fan. You see, it kind of looked like you kind of mailed it in today, like you didn't want to be here.
That's what I thought, too, huh?
Hey, man, Ocho carried this whole show today. I mean, nobody at all today agreed with you. Not one person agreed with you at all today. How does that happen? You defended Tom Brady. You defended Dak Prescott. You defended the Clippers. And you talk bad about Russell Wilson. And the only thing that you could talk about Ocho about was making fun of his voice and talking about him overreacting week 1. Hey, man, you do realize that this is our job. This is what we do. We overreact week 1. I told you last year, week 1, Chiefs was going to win the Super Bowl. You didn't see it, did you? That's right. You still waiting on the Clippers to get a win, ain't you?
All right, you, Barry.